Hey everyone, and welcome to the Nostalgia Effect. I'm Amy.
Dun dun dun
Guys.
dun 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 dun.
We got Joe and Johnny here.
What's up? Hello.
And then me. Today, we are not going to be doing a talking trailers because we're going to be starting a new segment that's
a little different.
Yeah, something a little different. It's going to pop up every so often. And we want to talk a little bit about why we're doing this. Maybe explain a little bit before we really jump in, because this episode we're probably going to be talking a lot. So,
as opposed to other episodes where
we talk a lot.
We talk almost not at all.
Yeah.
So, Joe, this was your kind of idea. Do you
Yes.
want to
Yeah, sure.
give a rundown?
Sure. So basically, listener, there's so many like great movies that we all love and want to talk about that we know have not only a nostalgia effect on us, but also are great movies in general.
Universally held.
Loved,
As
appreciated.
some of the greatest films of all time.
And so for a long time we were like, well, we're not going to do those because we've seen them and everybody knows they hold up. And what is there to talk about that has not been said? But then with a twist.
What a twist!
We kind of realized that some of these movies that have been seen by everybody have not been seen by everyone,
Yeah.
including some of the people in this room.
And to which it is their
Secret Shame. So our new little pop-up series every now and then is going to be Secret Shame, movies that you really should have seen but haven't.
Yeah.
And then we're going to talk about
reason,
those. So this will be
they just hadn't
like,
done it.
yeah. So it'll be like, one of us will have not seen a film that really probably should have.
And the other two really, really love.
Yep.
And then we're going to beat that person with bats live on air.
Yeah.
Or in this case, fishing line. I don't know. That was the best thing I could
No.
come up
God
with
damn
off
it,
the top of
Amy.
my head for Jaws. A harpoon.
Well, and so there it is.
How do you
the first
beat somebody
one
with fishing line? That doesn't even make sense.
A fishing pole.
that would hurt
I mean,
a lot
yeah.
because it would whip because it sort of flexes. You know?
Yeah.
What, the line?
Yeah, no, like
Fishing
the pole
pole.
itself.
Oh, the pole itself,
yeah,
yes,
that
yes,
would
yes.
hurt. That would fucking hurt.
Yes.
Well,
She said line.
as Amy has pointed out, the first one is Jaws.
Yeah.
The secret shame of one Mr. Johnny Sandoval who has not seen it.
I don't know what
Nope.
you guys are talking about. I love Jaws.
Yeah.
I've seen
Yeah.
all the Jaws.
He's
Jaws
seen 'em.
1,
He's seen
Jaws
them.
2,
Jaws 3D.
Jaws
Jaws
3D,
the Revenge.
Jaws Whedon.
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god, that's a cosplay.
That's the best. Oh.
If anybody's listening to this and goes to Comic-Con this year, please dress up as Jaws Whedon.
You know
and
what?
Send us a picture.
I think. Oh shit.
Can that be? Joe, are you gonna do that for Halloween?
I might need to do that for Halloween.
That's
That's so
You
good.
can have that one for free,
because
Joe.
you do,
No,
like,
I'll
as
let
much
you
as you
have it.
think you look like Ryan Johnson, you do look a little bit like Jaws.
Yeah, we're not dissimilar. Bearded white guy.
He's just a little bit rotunder than you.
He's not. He's got kind of a round face, but he's in pretty
But
good
he's-
shape.
yeah. We met him.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did meet
Okay,
him.
I'm
we
sorry.
had Johnny and I took direction from
We
him
were directed by Joss Whedon, so,
as camera people. It was pretty cool. But he's lost a lot of weight in his younger years. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was tubby, but now he's all trim.
Well-
he's a trim man.
Jaws Whedon.
Jaws Whedon, that's
Joss
amazing.
Whedon.
That's
You're
so
welcome.
good. Okay,
That's off the top of my head.
so
But yes, no,
Anyway,
I
so
had
Johnny, tell
not.
us.
I had not seen Jaws all the way through. I mean, I know Jaws. Everyone kind of like knows
Yeah.
Jaws. It's one of those movies that's so just
you get it via
universal.
osmosis.
Yeah.
It's basically like if you pay attention to movies at all, like you have some idea of what Jaws is and its impact on movies in general, on movies just and then pop culture in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, like, I knew the lines, like, we're going to need a bigger boat, I know the damn shark and the stories with the shark. Shark, didn't work and all the stuff that Spielberg had to go through. This was, like, his first, like, big movie, right?
This was his first big movie. He'd done a theatrical film before that called Sugarland Express, I believe.
Yeah, and he did a lot of shorts.
And he did a lot of
Yeah,
shorts, and then he
yeah.
did some TV.
Yeah, but this was, this was,
yeah,
like, the
this
thing
was
that
his
put him
first-
on the map, right?
This not only put him on the map, but this was the first in a series of 1-2 punches that created the term summer blockbuster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was this
So
and
I
Star Wars
knew
years
that.
later. Yeah.
I knew that this was, like, the summer blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
So that's like I've seen parts of it. I've seen scenes of it. Like I've never actually sat down and like watched all the way through because I was like, I know it already. Like,
Right,
You know,
right.
It's like I don't know. It's kind of like. I kind of compare it to like the Beatles, where it's like in terms of music, like everyone knows the Beatles. Like I don't need to like I don't know.
You need to go sit and listen to the White Album all the way through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Even though, listener, if you haven't, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it is. I actually started doing that too. I actually just did a deep dive on the Beatles
Oh, did you?
recently. Yeah, because I was telling you.
Going to see yesterday.
Well, no, I mean, I hadn't really planned on seeing that movie.
It's great, though.
Yeah, I remember you told me it was great. I just saw the trailer for it, and then a song got stuck in my head, and I was like, well, now I gotta listen to the Beatles.
Yeah.
And I kind of went down that rabbit hole.
That's
Yeah.
what I did. That's the one good thing about watching Bohemian Rhapsody is I went on a Queen deep dive.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff there.
Oh yeah.
But it's funny because their hits do sound very different from
They're like
the
yeah.
sort of rest of these songs on their albums. It's like they do really stand out as
Yeah.
like extra special.
Yeah.
That's the thing with things. But anyways,
Yeah.
Jaws. So just never saw it. Just never got around to like watching it. It doesn't. One, I don't particularly like the ocean,
Yeah,
and I'm just like,
I don't
Fuck
either,
that.
but that's because
Yeah.
I grew up watching Jaws.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same here.
which I mean, you know,
Well-
I hadn't seen it, so I was like, I already didn't like the ocean, so I'm like, a movie that's like set in the ocean, like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm like,
But I think the reason that well, this might be a spoiler for the movie, is that the main character does not like the ocean and does not like the water. So I kind of related to that, and I was like, I enjoyed this movie through your eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
my eyes?
No,
When did you get my eyes?
I did not get
she
your
took
eyes.
them.
Oh,
It's just like
I'm the pale man from Labyrinth.
yeah.
From
I mean,
Pan's
you're
Labyrinth.
very pale, so yeah.
You're a man.
I'm the pale woman.
There you go.
See, so it's funny because for me, Jaws is one of those movies that like my mom raised me on. It was Jaws, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, you know, and Star Trek. And we always lived like in coastal California, kind of up and down the coast. So I was always near the ocean, but we never actually went to it.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we did a little bit, but not a whole lot. And
I feel you. Same.
yeah, and then it was between growing up watching Jaws and Shark Week on Discovery Channel starting, I think, in like 1988. So it was
yeah,
like,
didn't
that
it?
was
30-year
3.
anniversary was last year.
Really? It's been on
Okay.
for that long?
Yeah, and I've been watching it pretty much my entire life.
Wow.
So
I don't think I've ever watched Shark Week.
It's great.
it's very good
What is
most
it?
of the time.
It's just a bunch of vignettes about sharks, pretty much.
Yeah, basically it's a bunch of specials that they air for an entire week, Shark Week.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Tracy Morgan says, "Live every day like it's Shark Week." I feel like that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
But it's a bunch of specials about sharks,
Okay.
and
That's what
and
I
they air
figured it
for the
was,
week.
but I don't understand why, because it's become like it's you know, it's in the pop culture lexicon, right? Of just Shark Week,
Yeah,
but it's like
Ooh, ha, ha.
I've never actually.
I just watched Finding Nemo this weekend.
You don't
Amy,
say.
Amy had a sea-filled weekend.
Did we?
I did.
No. Okay.
Well, and there's a nod to Jaws in
Oh yeah.
Finding Nemo.
Which,
Yeah,
by
yeah.
the way, did you know that our dear friend Nick did not know that the shark in Jaws is named Bruce?
What?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
the
said
shark-
that to him on Friday, and he's like, "Who's Bruce?" And I was like,
Oh, Nick.
I mean, I'm not surprised. It's not surprising at all.
I feel like that's the bit of trivia that everybody feels like they can be clever for knowing, even though
"Yeah."
everybody knows
And
it.
that's what I said. And I know Nick, you're listening
I feel-
in your car on your phone. I'm making fun of you right now. But that is exactly what I said to him. I was like, everybody knows that.
Yeah. And
Do they though?
I think so.
I think
I
my
feel like-
mom knows that.
Your mom doesn't know shit. I don't know. I feel like as like people that are into film, they would know that. But like the regular, like if you ask them, like
a civilian.
they ain't gonna know that shit.
It's and named Bruce for Steven Spielberg's lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So
Didn't know that.
yeah.
See?
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
just
knew
knew his
that.
name was Bruce. Well, good for you.
So
I also have a list of fun facts.
Oh, it's
there's
true.
in this 43-year history of this movie, there's got to be many fun facts. Amy, did what's your experience with Jaws?
So I think I watched this or bits and pieces of it when I was too young. This and Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
It maybe Lost World in there, like Jurassic Park, Lost World in there too. and it terrified me, and I did not watch it again until like all the way through until I was in high school or like my freshman year of college, and it still terrified me.
Yeah.
But I understood, like, this is a amazing piece of cinema, not just for its creation, like how it was made, but also like
or the fact that it got made at all.
Yeah, or what it did for filmmaking and for movies in general.
Yeah.
I was like, it's insane. So I have a very high reverence for it.
It's one of the very best monster movies I think in existence, because I'm not a huge horror fan, and I dislike monster films even less. And I only don't like horror films largely because they're mostly stupid.
Yeah.
The really good ones I really like.
I love the stupid ones though.
Yeah.
Like slasher movies are like my favorite, and
So like,
and those are like the stupidest.
right?
Slasher movies are pretty good.
I guess so. I mean,
I don't know, you know what it is? Horror movies are fun. Like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
really trashy
Yeah.
ones are really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why I like them so much.
And those are good, but you just don't like fun. So
it's true. I don't, because it's like, The Thing and Conjuring and It.
Yeah.
Really, I loved those. Those were really good. And this I think is one of the best.
Yeah, it's also something that, like, going along with what I was saying about, like, it changing the way film is.
Yeah.
Is it also set a precedent for how the villain or the monster is shown in films from here on out, or like not shown.
Yeah.
It's like the fear is your imagination.
Even though that itself was a mistake.
Yeah.
Because the shark, like Steven Spielberg intended for like this massive scene and like this opening shot of the shark attacking this woman, and intended for it to like leap out of the ocean and this whole thing, and they couldn't do it. Like they just couldn't.
The other thing that I had with this, I did watch a clip. I think it was in my freshman year of high school. It was either in an English class or in history class. We were reading this book about the USS Indianapolis, and my teacher showed us the clip of Robert Shaw giving his monologue, which, by the way, was done in one take, which he had done it before drunk, and he, like, did not like it. But anyways, we watched that clip, and we were, like, talking and reading about the USS Indianapolis, and I was just like, that speech is burned in my brain.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like terrifying.
Yeah, and the fact that it did happen is chilling. And I know that a lot of I think it's jury's out on exactly what kind of shark it was. Sometimes it might have been a tiger, maybe bulls, but I think it was finally not decided, but postulated that it was the oceanic white tip.
Yes, that's on the cover of the picture of the book we read.
Yeah.
I believe there's two books that I found. One is called Left for Dead, which I think is the one that we read. Then there's another one called In Harm's Way, not in relation to the movie.
Right. Available from Shout Factory.
Yay.
All right, well, shall we watch this thing?
Yeah.
Yay. I'm scared.
All right.
And now, our feature presentation.
Dun 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 dun.
So Johnny, I want to know what you thought.
I thought it was exactly what I thought it was before. It's a good movie. I mean, it's a really well-made piece of cinema. I mean, looking at it on a technical level, you're just like, shit, that movie looks like it would be so hard to make. Like, ugh.
Especially in 1975.
Yeah.
I know, just shit.
Not
so,
even
like,
1975. I mean, because that's the year it was released.
Yeah.
It was released. So they probably made this in like 1974, like early 1974.
Yeah.
So the water was freaking freezing.
No, I mean, all of it just seems like, I'm like, fuck, this seems like so complicated.
Yeah.
It's very well. I mean, it's well made. It's entertaining, especially because like I don't give a shit about the ocean. I don't give a shit about sharks. No, I thought it was really, really good. That, like you guys were talking about, the Robert Shaw scene, monologue thing, very, very good.
Yeah.
I was like blown away by that. I was like, shit, that's really good. The camera work in it is really good. Just the cinematography.
Yeah.
Fucking fantastic.
Like with that, when I was looking through the fun facts,
Yeah.
there was one that was like he shot about 25% of the film at water level.
Yeah.
So it's like you're the viewer is like treading water, and I didn't even think about that until I read that, and I realized looking back, I was like, Yeah, I could because the water and the depth and the darkness of it gives me like claustrophobia.
Yeah.
I remember feeling that claustrophobia when watching those scenes,
Well,
subconsciously.
And I think they had to create like a special camera rig to do that because they had
cinematographer did.
Yeah, because they had rigs that could stand like put on a platform looking down on the ocean. They had stuff for underwater, but water level they were like,
Yeah, they had to shoot it all like handheld.
Yeah.
To like negate the waves of the ocean.
Yeah, and so it's definitely for a movie about things that I don't care about.
Yeah.
It made me, it kept my interest, and I was like, that's really good.
Did you have any surprises, like stuff that that you were aware of for your essentially your whole life about this movie, but then when you saw it, you're like, oh.
I mean, no, not really. The only thing I can think about is there's a lot of side boob in the beginning.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
totally like that's
I
my
was like-
first notice. Like I totally forgot you could see that girl's boobs in the beginning.
Yeah, I was like, wow,
For a
because it's
PG
like
movie?
a PG movie. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, this is like the 70s. I was like, that's a lot. It's a lot of skin. It's a lot of body.
And I don't think it's even side boob. It's full on boob. Just
Yeah.
hanging out.
It is, and I was like, oh wow. I was like, I was not expecting that. But I mean, beyond that, it was pretty much exactly what I knew it to be.
Yeah. Were there any scares that really got you?
No.
Really?
Really? Because I have a note specifically on here, the jump scare with the head.
The Ben Harper or
Yes,
whatever it
that
was.
gets
Yeah.
me every single time. And I wasn't even paying attention, and I realized Hopper got in the water, and as soon as I looked up, the head popped out. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've watched this before where I was intentionally looking and knowing that was coming, and still was scared of it.
Interesting.
Or
Yeah, 'cause I mean,
scared by it.
the way that the music plays and the way that scene plays out, you know that something is coming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I mean, but again, this is like the first really big thing like that to do some shit like that. So I'm like, I can see seeing this movie in theaters in 1975. I can see why people would be scared and where that establishes a context for later on in other
Right.
movies for them to use.
That was only added because the jump scare at the end when Brody's chumming the water and the shark comes up.
Yeah.
Because everyone got so scared at that point, Spielberg added in the head later on.
Yeah.
Really?
And people were
Yeah.
so scared of that shark that they missed that you're gonna need a bigger boat line, so he added more room in between the line and that.
Yeah.
I just thought that was kind of interesting that
Which is funny because the "You're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat" was ad-libbed by Roy Scheider, and it's funny with the head bit. The head bit, they wanted an additional scare, and that was all filmed in the pool of the editor of the film.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
like that section there was filmed in her pool, I guess.
wow.
Which just goes to show you what you can do with when you
Yeah.
have to. I don't have a clear memory of watching the whole movie for the first time, but I remember the first time I
saw that
saw
part.
that bit.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I saw it at TV.
pissed your pants.
I did. I saw we had maybe a 32-inch TV, which was
Yeah.
big at the time.
Yeah.
And I was at home watching it, and I was young, and oh my god.
I remember the first time I saw that scene too.
Yeah.
It was actually it was the first time I
And
saw
you
the whole
pissed your pants.
Yeah, it was the first time that I think I actually watched it all the way through. I thought I'd watched it in high school, but thinking back on it now, it was in one of my film studies class, our world history film class, and we were talking about blockbusters. So this was the movie, of course, because it's the first summer blockbuster. We watched it, and we were watching it on an auditorium screen, so it was like I was in a movie theater.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it was insane. And I remember the girl sitting next to me gasped.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I do like for a PG-13 movie, it can get gory.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm like, that's tight. I was like, all right.
Like when
Not
the
even
leg
PG-13.
drops to the
It's PG.
Well, because it wasn't PG-13
PG
wasn't
did not exist.
not
It
exist
wouldn't
yet.
exist for another
It's still on IMDb.
11 or
it's
12
still
years.
rated as PG.
Yeah.
Yeah, they didn't. I don't think they went and reclassified anything.
Yeah.
But it was another 11 or 12 years before PG-13 would exist. You know what else I love about this film, and you see it a lot, especially in early Spielberg and a lot of movies of the 70s, is characters and talking to each other in like overlapping
Yes.
audio, which it feels like when Chief Brody goes in and he's getting all the supplies to make the paint for to paint the signs,
yeah.
you know, and then there's like somebody who's trying to talk to him, and there's like a bunch of people, and it's just really frantic.
Yeah.
In the police station.
Yeah, in the police station, like all of that stuff. And you see that. And I feel like you don't see that as much in movies now. Like
No,
when people,
because everyone's like, you have to have clear dialogue for each person,
Yeah.
and everyone has to say what they need to say.
and you hear everything that they
Yeah.
say. And so, like, I really love that about this movie.
Yeah, it feels real.
Yeah, it does.
And it's kind of like what we talked about with Goonies, where the little kids were so like over the top and they were talking over each other.
Yeah.
Like it felt real.
Yeah. And then I love everything with his family and his kids. You know, that scene where it's you know, his son is like mimicking all the things that he's
that's
doing.
so cute.
It's such a nice scene, and it's like in a movie today by somebody else, I feel like it would probably be cut for time.
Yeah.
You know, and it really ought not to be.
No, 'cause it gives kind of an understanding of Brody as a character.
Yeah.
And without that, you wouldn't have his connection to his family when he's all on the boat at the end. Like, and when the mom tries, like, when his wife tries to call, and Quint's like, yeah, he's doing fine, whatever, and then he, like, hangs up the walkie-talkie and then smashes it later on.
Yeah. That everything
Which I didn't. There's a lot of stuff on the boat that I didn't get, only because I don't really know boat things, and so.
Well, like what?
Well, why he's mad? I mean, I get that Brody was like calling for.
He's calling for the Coast Guard, but Quint wanted to do this on his own because of what happened. He was on the USS Indy, and because of what happened on that, he wanted to. At least this is what I took. He wanted to catch the shark and like kill the shark on his own. That's why he's the one at the end who ends up like being defeated by the shark, because he was like going on this personal journey of like it's his Moby Dick,
But
it's the white whale. Fun fact. I'm gonna try to interject as many of these fun facts as I have. In the initial run of the film, they were supposed to find Quint in a movie theater watching Moby Dick. But
That's interesting.
but the God, I'm blanking on his name. But the lead actor in Moby Dick didn't want didn't like that his performance in that, so he refused to let
Robert Shaw be like.
let Spielberg have the rights to play Moby Dick.
That's interesting.
Yeah. I've
Wait,
never heard
you're not talking about.
We're all just blanking on things today.
I know what.
Gregory Peck.
Gregory Peck. Yeah.
Here I found it. But Peck did not like his performance in Moby Dick and did not want the film seen again.
Wow.
Because he held part of the rights to the movie.
Right, back in the old days when shit like that
so
was.
Spielberg approached him for permission to use the footage, and Peck turned him down. Not because he thought it was a bad idea, but because of what I said.
Yeah. Huh. So, you know what's funny is in the, because I will do you one better, I think both of you, is I've also read the book, Jaws, by
course
Peter
you
Benchley. Yeah.
You also read Jurassic Park, didn't you?
Well, yeah. It's a good book. I highly recommend it. And you know, actually, it's cool with Jurassic Park. You'll see that there's ideas that were in the book that didn't make it into the first film, that made it into the second film, and some of the ideas that didn't make it in the second film made it into the third film. Yeah, there's like a lot of stuff. But anyway, so in the book, Quint and the shark sort of kill each other. Like they get. Like it gets him, and he's like stabbing it, and it gets tangled up in the netting from the orca, and then they like drown together. Very Moby Dick, you know. But also, it's largely, the book is, because the movie was adapted by Peter Benchley, who wrote the book. So it's largely pretty much intact, minus a very strange subplot involving Hooper and Brody's wife having an affair.
Yes, that was
Really?
in one of the fun facts that I did not end up using. I just remember reading
would be
it, that there
weird.
was an affair. And I was like, you can kind of see that it's happening in the script in that dinner scene right before they go back to do the autopsy on the shark.
Yeah.
She's like, they're kind of flirting a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. I always wondered, and it was because I remember reading it, and I was like, it gets to this part that's like a full-on sex scene in the book, and I was just like, what the
And how old were you, when you were reading it?
oh boy.
He was Mickey Mouse.
I was probably, I don't know, mid high school.
Oh, okay, so it was like old. You were old enough to be like, it wasn't like you were reading
To
this
be
as
like, oh,
a
boy.
middle kid.
Yeah. Oh boy. But but I remember just being like,
That's
what
weird.
is this?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That just
Um,
seemed like a weird thing.
yeah,
having
yeah.
this.
And then Hooper doesn't make it out. The only person who makes it out is Brody.
Yeah.
Oh, really? In the
Yeah,
book?
in the book.
Interesting.
There's I'm trying to remember if there's anything else, but those are the big things. But it's a good book. Otherwise, it's just kind of weird.
Just, yeah. I felt like a lot of, I don't know, I really wanted to punch the mayor of that town.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, he
Like,
is
and all the townspeople, because they're all fucking idiots.
yeah.
Well, it's also a great commentary on like commercialism and stuff as well. I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of the stuff with the mayor, he's like the personification of commercialism. The way he dresses, the way he like forces Brody to not close the beaches, but then doesn't take the blame when
When the
Brody
mom
gets
comes,
blamed.
yeah.
Yeah.
For
I would have
not
punched
closing
that
the
dude.
beaches.
I would have punched the lady too. Been like, bitch, I try to close the fucking beach.
Yeah, and then like when he even like forces that dude to go in the water,
Which is another thing I don't get. Why is the mayor trying to get them, making them go into the water? They're already
Because-
at the beach.
Because they go into the water, they want to rent stuff to use in the water, like flotation devices and stuff, to make the island more money.
Well, I think it's just that they want to make
His
it
whole
seem
deal
as though
is like,
everything's okay.
Yeah, everything's
keep it
fine.
open
But I'm
for
just saying,
tourist
like,
season.
why does that matter when they're already there? The whole point is that they don't want to close the beaches down because they need people to come to spend their money.
Yeah.
To because that's the way that their economy works. But the people are already there. They're just not
True.
going into the water.
True, but a lot of people I think if a lot of people are like, oh, so we have the choice of two places to go for summer vacation or whatever. Yeah. We can go to this place where it's very nice and pretty, but we maybe don't want to go in the water, or we can do exactly the same thing elsewhere, but we can go in the water.
Yeah, I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
But like,
I think he was just trying to get that.
that man,
you know?
man.
No, he's there's not that many great moments in terms of comedy in the new Ghostbusters, but there's a bit where Kristen Wiig accuses Andy Garcia. She's like, "You're just like the Jaws mayor." And he goes like, "Never compare me to the Jaws mayor."
I remember that. It's been like since
I'd
that
be
movie was in
offended.
theaters.
Yeah.
that
and I
saw
mean,
that.
like, yeah, like I don't know, just that whole bit. I'm like, why you just
Yeah.
you just want to punch him.
Yeah.
And then like.
He's a bad man. I mean, and then he's like, he's so slimy, even when he does that bit where he's doing the piece for the news cameras, and he goes, "Amity, as you know, means friendship."
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, fuck you.
And he like forces the coroner to like falsify. Like he's like,
Yeah.
well, I said it was a shark, but it could be a boat. I could have been wrong.
Yeah.
Because the mayor was pressuring him to change his statement.
Which is actually one of the things that, because this movie isn't just straight up shark hunts people go after shark. There's the stuff with Brody's family. There's the politics of the island. There's Brody being afraid of the ocean. There's there's I feel like Hooper's kind of like, everybody is essentially like a science denier in the face of Hooper's intelligence about marine biology, and nobody believes him. And so I love that there's all of this extra stuff in this movie.
It's a very layered film, but it doesn't get overcrowded by that. Which a lot of films today, I feel like if they had those layers, it would just feel like a clusterfuck.
Yeah. And I mean, and I do love when Hooper's trying to talk about the shark. It's like, that's a tiger shark, and he goes, what?
Yeah. What?
And then how it goes crazy, that people are like fighting over the sharks and like falling into the water, and they're
'cause
throwing
all
dynamite
trying to-
into the.
They're all trying,
like the
it's just
frenzy of
Yeah.
trying to go after the shark, also instigated by the mayor.
Yeah.
So he's not only is he endangering people's lives by allowing them to go swimming in a place that is known to be dangerous, but then he's made a dangerous situation even worse by encouraging that kind of behavior. So I mean, he is a monster. He is the monster of the movie.
He's
The shark's
the
just doing his
real
thing. He's just a
monster.
shark.
Yeah.
I just love that. Interestingly, and maybe your fun facts, you have this also, and maybe John, you already know this. But the movie, which is based on the book, is based on a real life thing in New Jersey in 1916. There was a series of shark attacks.
I think there was an episode by Cinefix on their YouTube channel of what's the difference, where they do compare the book and the movie, and I think they mentioned that.
Yeah.
It could be that, or it could be another YouTube video that I watched.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, it's a really interesting story, and Peter Benchley based everything in this movie on that. It was a series of shark attacks in 1916 off the coast of New Jersey.
60 or 16?
16, 6.
Okay.
So this was back when people were just sort of getting into going to the beach and going to the water for
Learning to
recreation.
swim.
Which I feel
And-
like they make a comment about that in the movie.
Yeah. Do they? I'm trying to think.
I
not
feel like
sure.
I
I don't
remember
think so.
something about the mayor saying it was like the mayor and Brody were talking about something, and I feel like there's just like a comment about like people started going to the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's right. And so like it happened in real life, and this like the first guy was like some swimmer, and he was attacked, and when they took the boat out to go get him, and they pulled him up they were starting to pull him into the boat, and they were like, wow, this guy's a lot lighter, and then they realized it's because he didn't have any legs.
Yeah.
And then there was another attack that was off the coast. And then everybody was like, well, shit, let's not go into the water. And this was, at the time, the Smithsonian, I think, had even said, like, don't worry, everybody. Sharks they do not have the bite force to even break human skin. You're fine. And yeah,
Smithsonian.
I know. Like,
Are you drunk?
Exactly. They're totally wrong, of course. So there was like already a lot that was not known about sharks. And I do love that this movie also sort of talks about that Brody's like, we don't even know how long they live. We don't know anything about them, and to a large extent, there's still things that we don't know about sharks. Even though we know a lot more, we've never seen great white mating rituals, for instance. So we just don't see them because they're deep, very shy, private creatures.
They have some modesty.
They do. And then also sharks will it's like, oh, there's no great whites out in the deep ocean, and then somebody gets attacked out there, and they're like, okay, there are great whites in the deep ocean. All right, cool. But anyway, so people stopped going to the beach, stopped going in the water, and they started swimming in like inland creeks and everything. And then the shark found its way into these inland creeks and started attacking people. It killed a young boy who was swimming with some friends, and then when the boys ran away to go get help, and then everybody from the town showed up, there was a guy who went into the ocean or into the creek to look for the kid's body, and then he was attacked and killed by the shark. And I can't remember how many people total. They're not even sure, obviously, that it was the same shark.
Yeah.
But they do know that at least some of the attacks were the same animal, and they think it was actually a bull shark. Bull sharks being having like higher naturally occurring testosterone than other sharks, being a lot more aggressive. Also being, I think, the only shark that can switch from saltwater to freshwater.
Yeah, that makes
in
sense.
terms
'Cause I
of
was like,
environment.
how did that shark get into a creek?
Yeah, it was connected to the ocean, but
True.
still, it's feeding
It gets
into the ocean. It's not
diluted.
going the other
Yeah.
way.
This is why you just don't go into the ocean.
Yeah. Well, and
I mean,
honestly,
we got out of the ocean for a reason, guys.
yeah,
All
right. And it's not. We can't breathe down there. We can't move very fast.
Nope.
And
They can crush you.
well, yeah, and sharks are ambush predators, so it's not even like you're going to see
No,
it coming
just
most
the
of the
water
time.
can crush you.
Oh, yeah,
The
go down
pressure
deep
of
enough.
The
Yeah.
water.
Yeah, no. There's no reason to go in the ocean. Fuck the ocean.
Yeah, like I don't go into the ocean really at all, and the times that I've been in there, I'm always kind of feeling like, well, there's some like a big mouthful of sharp teeth right under me. That's cool.
Yeah.
The
last time I went into the ocean, I was 15. My cousin accidentally scratched me like on the back, like enough for me to start bleeding. But because I was in the ocean, there
Yeah.
was salt water in that wound.
And yeah, plus, sharks can smell blood like a mile away or
Yeah.
something like that.
So I got the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah. I mean, the last time I was in the ocean, I had to be convinced. I was in Costa Rica, and I like went in, and I had never gone snorkeling.
And
or
he
anything.
never came
And
out.
I died. I was eaten and killed.
That's why you're a robot.
Yeah. No, like, cause I went in and I'd never been snorkeling before, and all I knew was like, okay, don't breathe when the tube is under the water. Got it. Put mask on tight.
Snorkeling?
Got it. Put fins on tight. Got it. And then I went in. I did not have the mask on nearly tight enough, and so
Yeah,
like it filled with
water,
water,
yeah.
and one of the fins fell off, which I grabbed. I didn't lose it, but I nearly did.
Nah, screw all
and
that.
and I was like panicking because I was like
Yeah,
choking.
just thinking about this
Yeah.
is giving me like an anxiety attack.
And honestly, like everything, I was like, I'm panicking and I'm freaking out, and I'm doing everything that you shouldn't do, because that is something that is
it's
noticeable for.
in that diagram that Brody had, it's like the shark, the sonar of the shark.
Oh,
yeah,
sees
the
fish
lateral,
in distress.
the lateral lines,
Yeah.
and also the ampullae of Lorenzini in the nose, which detect
Are you okay? Did you just speak English?
Yeah, the ampullae of Lorenzini. It's essentially like an electromagnetic detector that's in their noses, and
Speak to us like we're 5.
so there's electrical
Sharks are
impulses.
just godless killing machines. All right?
There are
Well-
electrical impulses in your muscles and in your heart that trigger everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they can sense that.
Oh, okay.
Godless killing machines.
All they do is eat and swim and make little baby sharks, and that's it.
Yep.
But anyway, so like I was, ugh. But the thing is though, I went back, tightened up everything, asked
And
for a
you
life vest, and then
You went
continued
back
swimming.
into that ocean and
Yeah, like a brave man.
fucking
Although-
showed
Brave
that
little
bitch
toaster.
who was
Yeah,
boss.
although I will say, like my girlfriend did have to save me, because I was like, I'd gone back in, the second time I was still trying to make it, and then I had to I couldn't get back to the boat because it was fairly I wasn't a bad swimmer, but I'd never swam really in the ocean, and I'd been in pools, and so I was like I couldn't get back to the boat, and I still had
'cause
the
the
face
tide
full of
and
water
the
and everything. And so I went and climbed on this rock, which I shouldn't have done.
Yeah.
But I was like, I need to get out of the ocean. I need it because I was having trouble. And I got out, and then I couldn't find anybody, you know. And then finally Sarah was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "I can't swim." And she's like, "Yes, you can swim." No, I can't. And so then she was like, "Lay on your back, and
I
we'll
could
swim
just
back
see
to the
her
thing."
rolling her eyes
Yeah,
at you.
yeah. Anyway, but then once I got the vest and everything was fine. And it was okay and swimming around. And then and we were thinking, should we go back to the boat? And then our friend Michelle, she was like, whoa, something just touched me. And I was like, what? And I looked underneath the water and I was looking for whatever.
Yeah.
And then I saw it was just a rock. But I was like, let's go back. Let's
Yeah.
go back now. I'm good.
It was a
When we-
man-eating.
When we were in Hawaii, my mom and my sister tried to get me to go scuba diving. I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good, thanks. I'm gonna stay here on the beach
Yeah.
with my clothes on.
Yeah. I'm going to Hawaii in October, and I know I'm gonna be going in the ocean, and there's things in there. There are tigers.
There sure are.
So I got some fun facts and some recasts.
Ooh.
Oh.
I have a ton of fun facts, so I'm gonna hit on a couple that I found fairly interesting.
Give us the funnest facts.
Okay. So the boat was named Orca.
Yep.
Yes.
In real life, the orca whale, usually known as the killer whale,
Yep.
is the known enemy of the great white, which
Yeah.
is what Bruce is.
Yeah, there's actually
Interesting.
some really interesting videos of orcas going up against great whites and killing them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bruce only has 4 minutes of total screen time.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I timed it out, and he doesn't show up fully. You don't fully see Bruce until an hour, 21 minutes, and 6 seconds in out of a total runtime of 2 hours and 4 minutes.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I knew that also going into the movie that you don't the whole suspense and fright of the movie and the shark is that you don't see the shark
Yeah.
and you only see bits and pieces and I'm surprised at how well that works.
Yeah.
You know.
When a Midwestern audience were shown an early cut of the film, they
Oh,
were
your people.
Yes, my people. This is why I picked this one, because I knew you guys would enjoy the fact that this is my people.
Yes.
They were shown an early cut of the film. They were shocked by the pop-up scare that occurs when Bruce breaches the surface. That their reactions drown out his iconic comment, "You're gonna need a bigger boat." And then I already told you guys that because of that, they added 35 feet of film to give some breathing room for the shark to pop up and for Brody to give his line.
I love that scene too because and heretofore until that point in the movie, every time the shark shows up, there's music, and instead there's no music, and it happens on a joke.
Yeah,
you know when he's like, Hooper's driving the boat, Chief. And then he's like, I could drive the boat. Why don't you come down here and try chumming some of this shit?
Yeah.
And then it just comes out. It's so good.
I like the way he reacts to it. He's just like,
Yeah,
Whoa.
I just love him backing up and his cigarette's just dangling out of his mouth. He's like, oh god.
Yeah. Oh man.
Um,
And that movie, like the last, I mean, it's not half of the movie, but essentially that whole rest of the movie on the Orca feels so claustrophobic and so
Yeah.
isolated.
no, the
and
entirety of the orca scenes.
Yeah.
Like even when they're outside.
you know, the other thing that's funny about the Orca is there was a movie a few years later that was kind of like a Jaws ripoff called Orca, in
Really?
which yeah, have you seen it? Do you know
No.
it?
Never even heard of this.
Yeah, and so in the movie, the like the captain of the boat has like killed the wife and unborn fetus of this orca, and so the orca like hunts him for the rest of the movie. Yeah, and it like takes there's like a seaside house on stilts that I think the orca like takes down, and I think the last scene is like the guy running through this like ice field as the orca like keeps like breaking through the ice to grab him like seals, you know?
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, and it was I think it's been forever since I've seen it. I don't think it's a good movie because it's a
Yeah.
Jaws ripoff.
Rip-offs tend to not be good movies. But
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
But the idea of it is not bad, you know. But I'm sure that movie does not hold
Oh
up.
yeah, probably not.
Yeah.
I do have two more fun facts about the woman at the beginning of the film, the girl that dies,
Yeah.
the first shark attack victim. The first one is the way that they did the drowning noises is like in post they put her in front of a microphone, had her like tilt her head up, and like someone poured water in her mouth while they were recording, just to like get the gurgling and drowning noises.
They essentially waterboarded her.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus Christ.
And
Spielberg.
it was the actress, not even a Foley artist. It
Yeah.
was the actress
Yeah.
that they had do that. And then, according to Spielberg, the prop arm that they used on the beach for her body, like her corpse, looked too fake. So they buried a female crew member and just had her arm sticking
Yeah.
out.
That's cool.
So those were my last two fun facts because I have a ton of recasts.
Yes.
Ooh.
The first one I'm going to do is one that may throw you guys for a loop. Is the director.
Oh.
Interesting.
Michael Winner, fresh from his success with Death Wish, was considered to direct this.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
God, I can't imagine anybody else but Spielberg doing this movie.
Yeah, and also just because it is the jumping off point for Spielberg, right?
Huge.
So
huge
like
for
if
him.
he hadn't,
Yeah.
like, what
Yeah.
what would the world be like?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if Spielberg didn't direct Jaws.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like,
Because then he definitely he wouldn't have got Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and then he wouldn't have got Raiders of the Lost Ark, and he wouldn't have got Jurassic Park. I mean,
And Schindler's List would not have been like his
or Saving Private Ryan,
Yeah.
or
yeah. I'm just saying, like, yeah. I mean, because this movie, because of Spielberg's direction and you know,
even though
creative
it was a nightmare apparently. Like,
Yeah.
really
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, it was only supposed to be 37 days and turned into like 133 or something like that.
Right.
Well, I mean, just watching the movie, you're like, I couldn't eat today. Like today with today's
Yeah.
equipment, like that sounds like a pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah.
Just shooting out in water like that with
Yeah,
this
well,
giant machine
today
thing.
it wouldn't be shot on water. It'd be shot on a soundstage.
Well, it would probably be done like Cameron shot Titanic, where they would build a tank, like
Yeah.
a huge ass tank somewhere, and then
Because like a lot of water scenes are shot. Like the lake scene in Harry Potter is all shot on a tank in a stage.
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I feel a lot more other movies like that, especially like more recently with the CGI.
Yeah.
is-
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, just to have all of that and then knowing the problems that did happen with the
Yeah.
production, it's just like, Jesus. The fact that it even got made
Yeah.
and came out as good as it is kind of amazing.
My mom always told me, she said in theaters it scared the hell out of her, of course. And she said that by the time that you actually see the shark whole for the first time, you've been terrorized by this thing for, as you said, an hour and 20 something
Yeah.
minutes. She said that it was kind of a relief that it looked fake.
That it looks so fake. Yeah.
You know, because it's like, thank God that it's, and I do love that line in Back to the Future
Yeah,
Part
it's
2
like,
where it's, you know,
shark-
shark still looks fake.
Yeah. So even though Lorraine Gray was the first cast member signed on and like Spielberg cast her, Victoria Principal was considered for the role of Ellen Brody.
I don't know who that is.
The mom. Like the
No, I know
wife.
who that. I know. I don't
I don't know
who
who
the
Victoria
actress is.
Principal is
Yeah.
either.
I feel like I know that name.
Next is Quint Oliver Reed and Robert Mitchum both turned down the role.
Oh shit, Robert Mitchum. I
Robert
do know
Mitchum.
him.
But I feel like Quint could not have been played by anybody other than Robert Shaw.
Yeah, no, Robert Shaw is amazing. And for the longest time, Jaws was the only film that I've ever seen him in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did some work on the original taking of Pelham 123 with Robert Shaw, Hector Elizondo, and Walter Matthau, of all people. And it's not a comedy. It is a straight thriller drama. It's very, very, very good. And he's in it, and he's a totally different dude. You know, like I just assumed that Quint was so much like him in reality that that's probably what he was like.
See, because when you first see Quint in that meeting and that you know,
He's scratching the
and he just like starts talking, that kind of like threw me off a little bit, just because whatever accent he's doing is just like, it's just like reminds me of like people trying to do an accent like that, but for comedic effect. And I was just like, what?
Well, because he
that's
is an
interesting.
he's an Englishman, so he,
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know that, but I mean, just obviously I could tell, you know, he doesn't
Yeah.
actually talk like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
You should watch him in The Sting, which is probably the only other thing I've seen him in, where he plays an Irishman, and he is great in that.
Yeah. He's I see. It's funny because I obviously grew up with the accent, so I never questioned it.
Yeah.
But it feels like one of those weird New England accents that's just like, what the, like Christopher Walken. Who talks like Christopher Walken?
Yeah.
But he's from New
Nobody
England.
Nobody talks like Chris.
You know,
Walken. Christopher Walken.
but it's just like this weird accent, and he's like somewhere cross between like Boston and a pirate. You know,
like, it sounded like a pirate, like
Yeah.
like what somebody would like if someone was like, talk like a pirate.
yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
that's what you'd come up
yeah,
with.
that's what you'd come up with, and I was like, what?
That's funny.
But like, yeah, I mean, I know. Whatever.
Were there other things that didn't work for you? Because we've talked about how great this movie is
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
a long time, but were there things that, as somebody who's essentially coming to it, watching it whole way through for the first time,
Yeah.
were there other things like that you were just like, I don't get it?
I mean, I'm saying the stuff with the boat, just because like I don't really know boat stuff. So like, when he's all doing the stuff with the barrels, and like
yeah.
trying to,
It's
because
just-
I just didn't get. They kept like talking about it, like I didn't get what was supposed to be going on. I kind of was like, okay, well, the barrels are supposed to
Yeah.
keep him up, but he's a big shark.
Yeah,
That's
so
another
it's
thing
meant
where
to tire him out.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another thing where you're watching it through Brody's eyes, because Brody doesn't know any of this shit either.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was like standard shark hunting procedure to try to tire the shark out like that.
Probably not. That was probably just Quint, like, using his ingenuity and being like,
Yeah.
this is what I think will
This is
help
how
us
he does
catch
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because that barrel thing is often in other movies. You know, like God, there was a movie that I just watched recently. I can't remember what it was.
The
there
Meg.
was. Yeah, no, I did. I have not seen that. I have read the book though.
The Meg is a horrible movie.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's also great at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a Jason Statham.
Yeah,
action movie.
it's you know what you're getting.
It knows what it is.
Yeah.
And it plays into it.
That's good. But yeah, there was a movie I was watching recently, and they did something similar to. I was like, oh yeah, that's like the barrels and Jaws, you know.
Well, they probably paid homage to it.
I'm sure everybody does.
I got some more recastings. I got Brody and Hopper. I'm going to do Hopper first. Richard Dreyfuss initially passed, saying that it was a movie that he would love to watch, but not make. Kevin Kline was offered the role, and he told Spielberg he knew someone who was an oceanographer, thought he could play one. Spielberg told him, I don't want someone who knows someone who is an oceanographer. I want someone who is an oceanographer.
Ooh.
And finally, Dustin Hoffman stated in an interview that Spielberg offered him the part of the film, presumably Hopper.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And then for Brody, Jeff Bridges, Timothy Bottoms, John Voight, Jean-Michel Vincent, Gene Hackman, Joel Grey, and Joe Bologna.
What? You made that last one up.
It says Joe Bologna. Bologna.
Oh.
If the Oscar Mayer song has taught me anything, that's how you spell
That's
Bologna.
Man, that is a time when you get a stage name. Or what if that is his stage name? And that was like
Joe Bologna.
It's like in Robin Hood Men in Tights, you know. It's like Latrine. That's an interesting name. You know, where does it come from? Our name used to be Shithouse. We changed it. It's like, it's a good change. It's a good change.
I have two more recastings for Brody.
I
Robert. Oh, what?
Well, I was just gonna say, I can't imagine anybody else but Roy
No.
Scheider, because you know he's not like the action star
Yeah.
of the movie. He's a guy who is deeply afraid of the ocean.
Yeah, well,
doesn't
that
want to
will
be there.
that will be one of these other ones will kind of go play into that. Robert Duvall encouraged Spielberg to make the movie. In return, Spielberg offered him the role, but he turned it down, figuring that it might make him too famous.
Huh.
He wanted to play Quint, but Spielberg told him that Duvall was too young.
Huh. Well, yeah. At some point in his history, Duvall would have been a young man.
Yeah.
It's weird to think about.
And finally, Charlton Heston was who Spielberg wanted to play Brody, but the reason he decided against casting Heston was because of his saving the day role in his previous movies. Spielberg reasoned that if Heston had been cast, it signifies to the audience that the shark has virtually no chance.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that, I think, like, I mean, it would have been kind of cool to see Charlton Heston playing Brody, but it would not have been a good fit because Brody is, because Brody is like, he's kind of a, not pathetic.
No, but he's
guy.
human. He's human.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
like,
he's a real person, whereas like every character that Charlton Heston plays is like Superman.
Pretty much. Huh. Man, Roy Scheider. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
As of 2014, Richard Dreyfuss was the only living member of the trio.
Yeah, true.
Is he still alive? Richard
I think
Dreyfuss
so.
is? Yeah. But I don't think we really have to say the question of does it hold up?
Well, I don't know, Johnny. Does this movie hold up? What does it live up to the hype?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, watching it, I was like, yeah. I mean, I didn't have a doubt that I was like gonna be like, this movie like is garbage. Everyone's been wrong for 40 years, 30 years, however long it's been, you know. But it totally lives up to its, you know, billing as the first blockbuster summer blockbuster movie, and it's like, yeah, I can totally see it. It hits all those check marks. I mean, it's not like I'm not seeing it and being like, holy shit, because I mean we've seen stuff like it since then.
Yeah.
But I can understand, like, at the time, like, this shit would have blown. I understand why it did blow everybody away. You know,
Blow everybody
Out of the water.
nailed it.
But I guess that wraps everything up in a nice little bow.
It's nice, and I no longer have to hide my shame.
Yeah.
Smile, you son of a bitch.
I have been lifted. That's good. Yeah, that's a good line.
But let us know any of your secret shames on Twitter or Instagram at Nostalgitis NOS.
About movies.
About movies. Yes. Movies only, please.
Oh man.
Film
Don't
rel-
send pictures of your secret shame, please.
Or you can tell us those movie secret shames on nostalgiaeffectpod@gmail.com. But thank you guys for listening, and don't forget to be kind and rewind.
Yay.
Dun, 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 dun.